Good afternoon. This is Media Center, Ukraine, Odessa. We are starting our working day. Kherson is still under shelling by the Russian army. There was yet another shelling yesterday. They are killed and injured among civilians. We are having with us now Dmytro Pletenchuk, who will share details. He's the press officer of the Kherson Defense Forces. Dmytro, can you share with us the latest updates? What happened yesterday? Yesterday, the Russian occupiers again conducted a bloody attack on Kherson, while the so-called president of the Russian Federation was telling that they do not shell civilians and the cities, but at the same time they used MLRS Grad to attack civilians in Kherson, including the bus stop. 2 people were killed right away, and more than 15 people were injured. 11 people had operations yesterday. They are now in intensive care units. An old lady of around 80 years old was killed just at home because one of the missiles hit the residential house, killing that woman in her kitchen. And this is a remote area comparing to the areas that they used to shell before that. Overall, there were 5 people killed yesterday and more than 15 people were injured. Half of them have severe injuries. Russians shelled houses, civilian places yesterday. Today they continue shelling. Garages. We don't know. This is the objectives and targets they have today. This is the current situation. The yesterday's shelling reminds us of the shelling of the 24th of December, when the central market of Kherson was attacked by Russians. Can you compare these events? Yes, but you see that they have changed the location. Because at that place near the market there is a concrete mobile shelter. That's why they decided to attack another district. Grad BM-21 is not a precise weaponry. It cannot hit some specific target. It can cover only some area. That's why we can say that this is yet another example of military crime which was committed on purpose. When we talked to you last time, you mentioned the shelling of the infrastructure facilities, not only with multiple launch rocket systems. So, there is still the threat? And was yesterday critical infrastructure facilities attacked? Yes, yesterday they hit yet another hospital in Kherson, and it's a miracle that there were no people killed there, despite significant damages to the building. One wall was destroyed, not to mention windows. And because during every shelling, they destroy hundreds of windows. Other infrastructure facilities were damaged yesterday. Don't want to disclose the details. They use artillery for more precise attacks. but they don't know the whereabouts of the armed forces of Ukraine in Kherson. That's why they target the whole city. But when they understand that they do something wrong, when they understand that there is yet another massive killing of people, they start producing fakes. For example, yesterday they informed that they targeted the 124th Territorial Defense Unit, speaking about significant number of casualties there, around 20 Ukrainian servicemen, but this is not true, because this is yet another Russian fake. This is how they try to explain the reason of their bloody attacks. What is the mood of the people who are still there in Kherson? Doesn't it stimulate yet another outflow people from Kherson? I have some connection problems. My question is, hasn't yesterday's shelling become yet another stimulus for locals to leave the city? What is the mood of people there? Every time when we face such tragedy, it becomes a trigger for locals to start thinking the possibility of leaving Kherson. And of course, after every case of such shelling, there is a way of people fleeing the city. At least it was in the before. But this now the amount of population is so low that it cannot influence the decisions of locals to evacuate, because everyone who wanted to leave they have already done this. So there are not so many people staying in Kherson, but there are still people, so the city is not empty. People still live and work there. And when Russians attack Kherson, they should understand this, and they do understand this. But anyway, we see their crimes. And I cannot say that some more people have left the city after yesterday's shelling. So when Russian soldiers use such types of weaponry attacking Kherson, they should understand that there are still civilians in the city walking the streets there. Moreover, they know this for sure. They seize this because they also use technical surveillance means to understand what they hit every time. And they don't need to have a lot of agents in Kherson to know that the crossroad they attacked yesterday is one of the most crowded locations in Kherson in general. So there are always people there. And they knew that they would hit civilians there. Military experts say that for Kherson to become safe, we should make Russian army to leave the left bank of Dnipro. Do you know any updates about the security situation on the left bank of the Dnipro River? We need to make them to reach the left bank of Styx to make the situation safe. But if to be serious, when we make them to withdraw to the distance of more than 50 kilometers, and of course we will do this one day, we need to remember that they have other types of tactics that they used in Mykolaiv, and of course they will use it in Kherson. This is the use of missiles 5B-52 for S-300 systems, Tornado, Peons, so that the weaponry of higher caliber. But we have noted that such weapons as great as they used yesterday kills and injures more people than S-300. For Kherson to be more or less safe, we need to make them to withdraw to the mid of the Crimea. For them not to be able to have so massive shelling. Of course, we punish them for these attacks. Every day they have killed and injured among their personnel. The situation of the left bank is really very difficult because Russians, they deport, torture, rape people, they steal their things, they make them leave their houses. Everything that usually accompanies the Russian occupation. And this is the current situation on the left bank. So there is not enough Russian manpower to start offensive. And such shelling is not something mandatory, because if they were preparing to attack, to offend, then it could be somehow explained. But they don't have enough people there to start offensive. But anyway, they continue shelling. So they just try to show that they're still there. Thank you. Thank you for the information. Please be safe. And I hope that the next week you will be able to provide us some better news. Thank you. Thank you. That was the briefing of Dmytro Pletenchuk, press officer of the Kherson Defense Forces. Next briefing we will have at 1 p.m. We will have with us the director of the Free Air School that tells people how to operate UAV. So it would be interesting. Stay tuned.